right, questions 25 through 30 should be very quick. Let's see what we can do. You can already see 26, so let me maybe move it down so it will be out of the way. But if you want to work it out, you can go ahead and do so, but I'll just move it out of the way. Or I won't. Use transformation to explain how the graph of the given function can be obtained from the graph of the root function, which is y equals the square root of x. Now, when you have a function that looks like the square root of 36x plus 108, what you need to do is, first and foremost, see if you can factor out the greatest common factor. I know that seems weird, but, try to factor out a greatest common factor because, you could lead by saying that this graph moved to the left 108 units and then that it was a horizontal stretch by a factor of 136, but I would rather you factor out the greatest common factor of 36 first. And that would leave you with x plus 3. If you don't believe me, take out your handy dandy calculator and divide 108 by 36 and you'll get 3, just like I did right here. All right, now the square root of 36 is 6. We don't know the square root of the quantity x plus 6, so we have to leave it under the radical because x is an unknown. And then we translate this expression right here. So what happens? We appear to have moved to the left 3 units and did a vertical stretch by a factor of 6. So we moved to the left 3 units and did a vertical stretch by a factor of 6. That is what we did, and they often appear as pull down menus, sometimes fill in the blanks, still pull downs though, so know that plus means left and minus means right. All right, let's use an analytic method to solve this equation. Winning at life, let's see what we get. Now, in order to use an analytic method here, what we're going to do is square both sides of this equation. What thou doest to one side of thy equation, doeth into the other side. When we square this, we end up with 4x minus 3 is equal to, and when you square, that means write this twice. Don't just square what's inside of the parenthesis, as some of my students have done in the past, but not you. X squared minus 6x minus 6x gives us a minus 12x, and minus 3 times minus 3 is a positive 3. Then we're going to move everything to the right by combining like terms, and that'll give us 0 equals 4x squared minus 16x plus 12. Now, one thing you should do when you look at your quadratics is always try to factor out the greatest common factor. In this case, it's a 4. So we're left with x squared minus 4x plus 3. At this point in the game, all we're left to do is to factor. And this is a much easier quadratic to factor than this one. You've got to admit that. So we've got a 4 on the outside that's equal to 0, and we know that's not true. So we could go ahead and divide by that bad boy. And that would just give us our factors, which in this case are going to be x minus 3 and x minus 1. Set them equal to 0 and x equals 3, or x equals 1. And when you solve a radical equation, you must plug it in to see if it's true. So when I plug in a 1, I get 4 minus 3 is equal to 2 minus 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. The square root of 1 equals negative 1. And in this case, it does not. Square root of 1 is equal to 1. So, dun, 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 that one doesn't work. All right, let's plug in another one, like the 3. All right, so the square root of 4 times 3 is 12 minus 3 equals 3 times 2 minus 3 is 6 minus 3. This is the square root of 9 equals the square equals 3. And it does. So we only have one solution here, and that's 3. So the moral of the story, check all your answers. Thank you for listening to the story.